Black Clover has just unveiled one of the most important chapters so far, confirming many of my predictions and theories. You may not have noticed that the Witch Queen actually used her crystal ball to peek into the future before choosing to offer her own life. What did she glimpse that convinced her to make such a fatal decision? Soon after, she turned her attention to Asta, asking about a newfound ability he possesses. In response, Asta reveals to everyone his ability to now share his AntiMagic with others, who seem to be able to combine their magic with AntiMagic. It finally proves that AntiMagic does not automatically cancel out magic, something I predicted a long time ago. Yet this is just the tip of the iceberg. Rhea suggested a concept hinting at what Asta's AntiMagic might really represent. Asta might become the avatar of Black Clover, controlling all magic in the world. Let's dive into this. The new chapter picks up exactly where the previous one left off, showing Asta quickly defeating Balnacio, a more powerful version of one of the supreme devils, Baal. Just to give you some context, Baal is the devil that comes after Adramelech, making him much more powerful than both Lilith and Ama, and likely even stronger than their combined form. I have to admit, this feels like things are moving pretty fast, but it's understandable. Asta has grown a lot stronger since his time in the Spade Kingdom almost 2 years ago, and his intense training in the Land of the Sun has taught him how to control AntiMagic. That is, thanks to Zedin and Das key manipulation, a prediction I have made many times before as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. As you know if you have seen my videos, Baal is the blacksmith devil, and he's essentially the maker of all kinds of weapons, especially sharp ones like swords, which is why he wields a sword, at least in demonology. Asta receiving his last sword right now would have been a perfect moment. It's pretty clear that there's going to be another sword for the final saga, but since he didn't get it from Baal, now it's more likely that Asta will get his final sword from the dwarves. This has always been my main guess for how Asta will get his final weapon. After all, the dwarves are likely the ones who made the other swords in the first place. Or the last sword was always inside Asta's grimoire. Whoever hid the grimoire in the tower probably also hid the demon dweller sword in the dungeon and knew Asta would find it there. The last guess is that Baal will come back, not as a paladin but an angel. This is because Beelzebub might have a plan to transform all the devils into angels using the paladin spell. That's why he first got Xenon's soul and maybe even switched it with his own. It seems like the real Beelzebub is tied to the whole paladin cocoon right now. It's hard to guess what he's really up to. Maybe he's working with Adramelech. Don't forget, Tabata recently hinted that Adramelech might have a different goal from Lucius. If that's true, then Baal might come back stronger than ever and use his most powerful weapon against Asta, and that could be Asta's final sword. Anyway, when Damnation returns to his human form, he falls asleep just like Sister Lily. Asta assures him that he will wake up soon. Next we see Asta rushing to join the others, and in one panel the Witch Queen is shown. This is a critical moment. As far as I can tell, a lot of people missed what's happening in the scene. The Witch Queen is actually gazing into a crystal ball which she uses to see the future. This is essentially like time magic. I had the theory that Astaroth, due to his time magic, knew that Lucius would steal his power one day. Astaroth couldn't stop it, so instead he split his powers into different parts and gave them to certain people or places. One of these could have been Rhea's eye, another could be the Witch Queen's crystal ball, yet another could be Yuno's necklace, which might have cast the time magic spell in the dungeon and maybe even lets Yuno use time magic, resulting in spells like Neverland. Of course, another part is his heart, which Lucius stole if he got his magic in a similar way as he did with Lucifero's gravity magic. And who knows who else might have time magic powers hidden inside them. There isn't much time for new characters anymore, so maybe a dwarf has it, or perhaps it's an Asta's final sword. But the key moment in this scene is when the Witch Queen sees something in the crystal ball that makes her choose to use all her remaining powers to heal everyone injured by Balnacio. By doing this, it seems like she's giving up the immortality that kept her young thanks to her blood magic. We see her aging and revealing her true look. She should actually look much older once she gets to her real age. It's even possible that she might die in a few minutes or hours or days, depending on how long this process takes and whether she can stop it or not. So in a way, it's possible that the Witch Queen literally gave up her own life to save everyone else. The Witch Queen doesn't care about anyone or anything apart from herself, the Witch Force, and even if she won't admit it, all her children living outside. But even so, it's out of her character to act so selflessly. There must be a reason, and that reason is clearly whatever she saw in the crystal ball, which is hinted at when she says, "I see." If her ability is related to time magic, she theoretically shouldn't see anything linked to Asta, and everything else should have been uncertain, as we saw with Lucy's time magic predicting a completely wrong future due to Asta's influence. However, Rio has an ability that could also be part of time magic. He can see things happening anywhere in the world. Lucius can also do something similar, although he doesn't see it directly, he notices it in his timelines. Rio can also ask certain questions and get visual answers, like when he used his eye to find the hidden herb, or how to be the dragon. He's also hinted at being able to see the future, like with the bandits, or when he said that if Asta were to fight Lucius right now he would lose. That's what he saw with his eye. All these are signs of some kind of time magic, but unlike Lucius, Rio can see Asta. The same goes for the Witch Queen apparently. If they both have time magic abilities that let them see Asta, their power could come from the same person. If it's really Astaroth, then he deliberately removed all powers that Lucius could use to predict Asta's future. Anyway, this means the Witch Queen is really important. Don't think that Black Clover will just ignore whatever the Witch Queen saw. It will matter at some point when she reveals what she saw. What I'm saying is that the only chance to find out what she saw in the crystal is for her to participate in the war. There has to be a situation where she will say what she saw. This requires her participation, unless it's going to be a short flashback or just a single panel, which will be kind of weird. So I think she will be involved. But because of this idea, that means she's going to regain her powers. And that's only possible if she's either evil or turns into a paladin and tells Lucius about her vision. Or even Asta, since paladins keep their knowledge and personalities. There's no reason for her to lie. Lucius doesn't control what they say. There are many possibilities. She might be in touch with Astaroth, whether he is good or evil, who gives her visions from time to time. The crystal ball often shows the future without the Witch Queen intending it to, suggesting some kind of control outside of herself. Which makes sense because it has absolutely nothing to do with her own magic. Blood magic. And the only non-magic ability that has this attribute is time magic, or whatever Rio's eye is. So if Astaroth is communicating with the Witch Queen either through the present if he's somehow still alive without most of his magic, or from the past through time magic, he lets the Witch Queen see something and even tells her to do something through the crystal ball. This vision made the Witch Queen give up her life for the war, something related to Asta of course. In that case, the Witch Queen will be obviously good, but there have been many hints that the Witch Queen could actually be evil or could be in touch with the devils. Her crows fit one of the devils in demonology, the Devil Raum, who is also in close contact to Astaroth. Both have time magic. And there are several more references, such as in witchcraft or the book Faust, and the Baphomet head in her hall, the prime sign of Satanism. All these signs point to devil worship. If the devils really plan to turn themselves into angels and the Witch Queen is loyal to devils, she might have given up her life because she plans to come back stronger than ever. Maybe she's even planning to become a paladin on purpose, because that way she might be connected to Beelzebub if Beelzebub is planning to corrupt the paladins from inside the system. In any case, it's a big mystery. The Witch Queen's act of healing forced her to choose her successor, hinting at her death, and she chose Vanessa. This choice alone shows how powerful Vanessa is or could become, given 10 more years. We could view her as one of the most powerful characters in the series if she can match up to the Witch Queen. Vanessa looks surprised but clearly doesn't want to take on the role. Her family is the Black Bull, something Dorothy lacks. Like every other witch, Dorothy comes from the Witch Forest, so a family life like Vanessa's is unique. Without Vanessa saying a word, Dorothy immediately understood that her hesitation probably comes from respect or the common sense that one doesn't simply turn down such a powerful position. This doesn't mean Vanessa will never become the Witch Queen. In fact, it seems quite likely if she wants it, because she was chosen directly. Immediately after, the Witch Queen shifts her attention to Asta, a hint that whatever she saw in the crystal ball involves him. The Witch Queen asks Asta if he had some sort of hidden power ready for when his squad mates return, almost as if she already knows the answer. Asta confirms her hunch, calling the demon dweller Sword. We then see a flashback to the Land of the Sun when Asta and Rio are having a conversation. It appears to be from the first of the 3 missing training days in the Hino country. This supports my guess that Asta learned a bunch of new things in the Land of the Sun after the dragon was defeated, thanks to Zedin, and with it, the understanding of Ki, that is, how people use magic. Rio has an idea about the nature of Asta's and Diba's anti-magic. He thinks it might be possible for Asta to imbue other things with AntiMagic, similar to what happened when he touched Yami's katana. It became an anti-magic weapon with the properties of anti-magic. Ryo suggests that if Asta can give objects anti-magic, he should be able to share it with others too. But before going any further, I have to bring up that despite not having any odd feelings about Ryo, and despite him seeming genuinely kind, everything surrounding him smells like a big fat lie. The way he found Asta, his lack of help over the 3 years in Black Clover, the fact that he sent Ichika to the Clover Kingdom even though she isn't the strongest and her presence would make a huge difference. It doesn't make sense that her involvement alone will lead to Lucy's defeat, and Ryo making it seem like he's doing her a favor so she can see Yami is, to put it simply, ridiculous. It's absurd. This is war, not a family reunion. All Ryo is doing is potentially distracting both Yami and Ichika from performing at their best, which doesn't matter anyway since both are far too weak to compete with the top villains anyway, but that only makes it more suspicious. If their reunion is the only reason, then they could have done that after the war. Funeral marked the Land of the Sun, meaning that he can return whenever they want. There was literally no reason to send Ichika unless Ryo's hiding a very important secret, a secret that explains why he sent her. Anyone who does this either has a very good reason. In the case of Black Clover, this could be related to time magic, to not mess up timelines, which could be the same reason why Sekre didn't tell Asta about his mother Lieben Lucifero if she was in contact with Astaroth. Or if Ryo's evil, maybe not necessarily working with Lucius, but he could be the true main villain, or working with the devils. He literally sent an uncontrollable ticking time bomb to the Clover Kingdom, and the fact that he's pushing all these ideas that make Asta stronger is also strange and reminds me of how Lucius did the same thing, raising Asta to fulfill his own goals. What if Ryo is doing the same thing to defeat Lucius? How is it possible that Ryo knows everything about Asta's anti-magic when it's such a rare and never before seen ability? Ryo knew that Asta could use key manipulation to control anti-magic and create magic. Ryo knew that Asta could use anti-magic for Zedden. Ryo also knew that Asta could share his magic with other people. Not even Julius Novacrona, the biggest magic nerd in the world, had this idea. Is Ryo such a genius, or does he simply know? Anyway, Asta remembers his Demon Dweller's ability from when he absorbed Noel's spell in the dungeon, and he thinks it might work on the same principle. He didn't say it exactly that way, but he mentioned that it is the opposite of what happened in the dungeon. The opposite of something still works on the same principle, just the other way around. So if Asta has learned how to use this sword to share his anti-magic with others, he should also be able to absorb others' magic, or more accurately to use the original abilities of the swords, like Licht did. This could prove another of my theories that the sword's abilities are based on key control. One clue supporting this is Yami's confirmation that the elves can read ki. I've also predicted that Asta would learn to use the true ability of the swords in the Land of the Sun during the last 3 days of his training. Seems to be true. We see Asta lift his sword, sharing his anti-magic with all the Black Bulls, making them stronger than ever. If you compare this move to Licht's ultimate magic, you will see it's pretty much the same thing. This supports my theory that Asta is now officially able to use magic, but with anti-magic instead of mana. This also supports another one of my predictions. Not exactly a prediction, but more of an understanding of anti-magic. I've always told you that anti-magic doesn't automatically wipe out mana. This has never been stated. It's a big misunderstanding in Black Clover. The truth is, Asta's anti-magic only cancels out magic if he wants it to, or when his anti-magic is out of control, as we have seen in the Spade Kingdom. So the Black Bull should be able to use anti-magic just like Asta. If we're lucky, we'll see many different versions of anti-magic, like anti-fire magic, anti-lightning magic, and so on. Again, something I predicted. That is, the idea that anti-magic could be the source for magic like mana, resulting in different types of anti-magic abilities. We can clearly see Charmy using her cotton magic in an anti-magic form. So Asta might not only be able to absorb magic, but also combine it with anti-magic to create new magic abilities based on anti-magic and the original ability. Something even more interesting is what Ryo mentioned about Asta's anti-magic still being a mystery, with its true nature still unknown. If it's really about sharing and blending magic, then it aligns perfectly with the sword's abilities, and my theory that Asta will create all type of magic. Just as demon water magic is a type of water magic mixed with demonic power, anti-water magic is another type of magic combined with anti-magic. So what do you think of this new chapter and my chapter review? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video then please leave a like, and if you want to see more Black Clover content then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.